Hello and welcome to Bobcat Report. The largest freshman class is already descending on Texas State.
And that's causing some problems with student housing, and summertime is creating some problems of its own.
Those stories and more on Bobcat Report. The freshman class has been getting bigger and bigger in recent years, but how does Texas State plan on housing all of these students? Jason Harlan has the story.
Cody, the housing department has struggled with that lately, turning to overbooking dorms. This has sent some freshmen to look for off-campus housing.
Last year, the Department of Housing and Residential Life overbooked 500 freshmen, saying that it's a common practice done by bigger universities to keep the cost of living down for everyone.
This upcoming fall, dorms just like the one behind me will be filled to the brim with freshmen. But just because all the dorms are full does not mean that all the freshmen will have a room.
One reason that they would choose to overbook is to try and account for students who register but never actually show up to the campus, taking rooms away from the people who need them. If a student registers too late, they might be moving into a study or a common room or off-campus housing.
Well, we have identified a number of locations in some of the residence halls that make sense for us to use as what we call temporary housing. They're not quite this small, but they're smaller study rooms that are near a place that has a community bathroom. And so we will move out the study room furniture, and we'll put in a typical residence hall room bed, chest of drawers, desk, depending on what the configuration of the room is.
Even though overbooking does happen from time to time, the housing department does their best to make it feel like every student is in a dorm like this. For Bobcat Report, I'm Jason Harlan.
With a population of about 63,000, San Marcos is one of the fastest growing cities in the nation, thanks to Texas State University. But is this population increase causing the city to be overrun by student housing? Reporter Callie Sherrill has the story.
Gino, as Texas State grows, there's an increasing demand for both on-campus and off-campus student housing. Newer apartments such as The Point, The Linden, and Ella Lofts have been built specifically for student living. Out of the 39,000 who attend Texas State, about 80% live off campus.
Just because this is such a popular college town that many students seem to want to live in an apartment rather than a house.
A wide variety of living options have been created to accommodate to the high demand of off-campus student living.
I understand that right now Texas State makes up majority of the population in San Marcos, and in order to house that growing community, we need a lot of housing.
Although Texas State will continue to grow within the next few years, students who live off campus are welcome in the San Marcos community. For Bobcat Report, I'm Callie Sherrill.
There's no doubt about it, summer is here, but that could cause some problems for local businesses and pets. We'll have those stories right after this.
Potential isn't every kid, but 8.5 million still need someone in their corner. At Big Brothers Big Sisters of America, we don't create potential, we defend it. Big Brothers Big Sisters provide children facing adversity with strong and enduring, professionally supported one-to-one relationships that change their lives for the better, forever. Kids who are matched with a Big in our mentoring program have shown to be 46% less likely to begin using illegal drugs and 52% less likely to skip school. But these aren't the only benefits. We also found that the littles were more confident of their performance in schoolwork and getting along better with their families. Want to know how you can change a child's future? Take the first step to inspire potential and visit our website at bbbs.org. Together, we are defenders of potential.
During the school year, local San Marcos businesses are packed with Bobcats. But what happens when those Bobcats go home for the summer? Alike Stoddard has more.
With many students leaving town for the summer, many incoming freshmen and their families are trickling in to prepare for their first year of college. Downtown San Marcos, the square as we've come to know it, is filled with local food, fashion, and more. We had the chance to talk to Mackenzie Hallbrook about what it's like to work on the square during summer hours.
It definitely slowed down a bit, but we still get a lot of business. NSO has brought in a bunch of families, so it's been really busy, surprisingly.
When these incoming freshmen aren't busy with new student orientation, they explore the city with their families. Not only are they taking the opportunity to head over to the San Marcos Premium Outlets, they're supporting local businesses too. Madison Hall said that with families coming through, business has been booming.
NSO is our busiest time of year. It's been affecting our sales tremendously. Our sales tend to increase around this time. Sometimes they even triple as far as the traffic goes. We have a steady amount of people coming in constantly, and we're never sitting put. We're always on our toes.
Shopping local can make an impact on San Marcos residents, helping to improve the community as a result. For Bobcat Report, I'm Malika Stoddard.
It is heating up in San Marcos. Bobcat reporter Giselle Sanchez has some tips to prevent your pets from overheating this summer.
It's like my pet is like my family, so I could never do that. If I wouldn't leave, like if I had a kid, I would never leave my kid in a car just by itself. It's family.
San Marcos is home to many students, and many students have four-legged friends. With the summer heat arising here in Texas, be sure to take these tips from SPCA.
One thing you want to make sure is to not leave them outside for long periods of time. They get overheated, and unfortunately they aren't able to sweat like we are. They can only sweat a little bit through their paw pads, and then everything else is just them panting. So you want to keep them inside in the AC. Some of you guys may have those short-faced dogs like bulldogs. They should not be outside for hardly any time at all because they're very prone to overheating. There are studies that have shown that 80 degrees is where you start seeing these adverse effects. So unfortunately here in Texas, that's most of the year for you.
A good way to check if the ground is too hot is to place the back of your hand on the ground. If you can't lay your hand down for a couple seconds, it's going to be too hot for your pup's feet. And some students had strong feelings about leaving pets in hot cars.
I know it's like a hot day. You definitely shouldn't bring your pet out, or especially like leave it inside a hot car. If you don't have those windows down, that could lead to like them, obviously getting super injured and hurt, or even like dying.
It's important for your pets to stay healthy, safe, and hydrated in the Texas heat. For Bobcat Report, I'm Giselle Sanchez.
Some problems for the crown jewel of the Texas State campus. And we host some keyboard royalty. Those stories next, right after the break.
To some, it may simply mean food in a plastic tin, but to others, it could mean a blessing. This is Meals on Wheels.
Oh, well, it is a blessing, first of all, and I do appreciate all that they've done, the ones that prepare the meals, and my mobility is very difficult. So there's times that really just not even safe for me to be at the stove.
Meals on Wheels strives to provide any person over the age of 60 who is on Medicaid a daily hot meal right to their doorstep. Volunteers make up most of the organization and help the idea of providing daily meals for the community a reality.
Well, I'm the site manager this is our Allenwood site. We gather meals and put together meals for our homebound clients. We put out about 80 meals a day, and we have somewhere between 60 to 75 hot meals that we send out to our homebound clients. And we have somewhere around 15 clients that come in and eat lunch with us, and we serve them a hot lunch here.
If you want to be able to provide an incredible service and be the helping hand for those who need it most, call 800-333-6325 or visit mealsonwheelscentraltexas.org.
A large number of students may be gone for the summer, but Sewell Park stays open to residents and tourists. Some San Marcos residents, however, worry that the litter has gotten worse. Kevin Stevenson has the story.
With summertime in full swing, Sewell Park is the hot spot for families and students who need a break from the heat. Along with the summer comes tourists, which causes worries for some park goers and its employees due to the noticeable amounts of litter during the summer season.
Mostly there's just a ton of trash. People come out here and they camp out, and it's mostly tourists. Every time we have like college students out here or locals, they take really good care of the park. But we have tourists come through on the weekends, and they're not used to the area, so people who aren't used to the area, they're just like, if I leave, it doesn't really affect me because I'm going home 3 hours away at the end of the day.
Park employees worry that not enough action is being taken to enforce rules like no dogs or glass containers.
People don't know that there's no styrofoam allowed in the park. We see a lot of styrofoam, and that's the worst for the river because as soon as it breaks up, it's tiny and you can't pick it up anymore, and the fish like to eat it. So that's really dangerous because it's a very sensitive sensitive ecosystem out here.
This fragile ecosystem is home to several endangered species like the Texas blind salamander and Texas wild rice. The city of San Marcos has even closed off certain areas of the river to help control the amount of damage that has been done to the endangered species. The city of San Marcos encourages its residents to do what's right and set the example for incoming tourists, and it's up to them to help preserve this iconic spot. For Bobcat Update, I'm Kevin Stevenson.
Participants from all over the world came to San Marcos to perform in an international festival last week. Cody went to check it out.
Texas State University School of Music hosted the 10th Annual International Piano Festival last week. Students of all ages auditioned. One of those students was Joshua Sue from Canada, who said being older made him appreciate this experience on another level.
I found it really enjoyable to be able to hear all the different opinions that each of the professors gave. They answered a lot of questions that I know I personally would not have even thought of, so it was really helpful.
One of the benefits that came along with this festival was that participants were featured on the top. For more than a decade, listeners have tuned in weekly to hear middle and high school students play with astonishing depth, style, and enthusiasm. For 11-year-old Ella Kim, it was the opportunity of a lifetime.
I feel very excited to be on NPR and really happy to be working with other people. I've heard that this it will help me throughout college.
This year's festival had over dozens of young pianists from all over the world. Every day a concert was held which featured guest artists and up-and-coming stars. For Bobcat Report, I'm Cody Huffman.
That's it for Bobcat Report. I'm Gino Perez.
And I'm Cody Huffman. We'll be back next week with another edition.
In the meantime, you can catch us on our YouTube channel.